Welcome everyone. It is finals time here for the UMG $500 minimum 4v4 variant here on December 13th. We've got the boys from YERRRR taking on Defy, or I think it's Defy Rebellion. And this best of 3 matchup here to decide it all. Of course, loading in here for map number 1, it will be on St. Marie du Mans. Map number 2, Search and Destroy, will be on London Docks. And if it comes down to that ever interesting map number 3, it will be CTF on Flak Tower. So things definitely will be speeding up as the series does continue on. And for either side, who will that benefit? Will obviously be the question at hand. Both these teams have obviously had a very difficult way of getting here for tonight. Of course, larger prize pool does attract the very talented teams at that, as Remy does take out his teammate Diabolic. The reason why I bring that up really quickly as I segue is that we saw that quite a bit actually in their early matchup on Gibraltar in one of their earlier matches. And of course, like I said, speaking of their earlier matches, the boys on YERRRR actually in the quarterfinals ended up taking down, I believe, Decimate, TJ Halley, Saints, and Accuracy's team. Then in the semifinals, they actually ended up knocking out Season, which we actually were able to cast that one, where they ended up taking out Dashy, Illy, and Mochilla. So from some pretty interesting matchups that we've seen from the guys on YERRRR, of course, taking out some top-level competition in the later rounds of tonight's tournament. And the other group, though, that we have to talk about is obviously Defy Rebellion. Not super familiar with these players, except for maybe one being Derpun. I believe he's a previous player for Project Evil, if my mind does serve me correct. But besides that, not really familiar with Brack, Rain, or Novocaine. But despite that, I'm very interested to see how they obviously do perform when it comes down to this one. But these guys actually end up taking out the boys on Underaged 2-1, of course, consisting of Simp and Celium on that roster. So pretty surprising to see a UMG tournament where Simp, Celium, or Illy are not actually, any of them are not actually going to be in the finals of tonight's tournament. But regardless, though, it is a variant. Got to kind of keep that in mind. Those guys definitely prefer it when it comes down to the Search and Destroy game modes. But when I do obviously talk about lineups, we do have to keep in mind that 3/4, I believe, of this YERRRR roster is actually on the roster known as Amity. And obviously very curious to see how these guys perform. I believe in the CTF is where they definitely kind of use a lot of that teamwork, a lot of that communication at its very peak. I think in Hardpoint, and obviously is very useful Search and Destroy as well. But really is going to come down to a lot of the gun skill. And of course, both these teams definitely possess it. Cinder nearly turns on to the second. His rotation will be coming in here toward parking lot. So quite a few of the points gained in that last hill over on Winery. We talk about a lot of the pro teams, especially United actually, on this particular map, definitely can lock down quite a few seconds when it comes down to both parking lot and Winery, as it looks like we do see the boys on Defy Rebellion gaining the last few seconds of scrap instead of parking lot, and also grabbed a lot in the earlier hard point there on Winery as well. Definitely the reason why they do have that current 25-second lead. But rotation coming in here toward Lookout Post, as looking on right now, Happy trying to re-engage on a teammate that has actually fell, and Derpun is able to win the gunfight because of it on a 3 spree right now. He could definitely work for some streaks. Hops inside of the hill, gets the free 100. Up close and personal fight and wins that one on to Happy. Big win for Derpun as he's got 2 out of his 3 streaks and has some teammate support as they're locking down some time here in Lookout Post. And here comes the glide bomb. Where do the players rush forward to? And Cinder's about to get picked off. And, of course, great intuition coming in from Derpun. Not to grab the easy kill that was running right in front of him, but to realize, hey, my teammate's most likely going to pick that one up. I can kind of hop inside and try to grab someone off the rotation. But actually happens to miss Diabolic, who doesn't have Mountain on, which why would he have Mountain on? But regardless, does not have Mountain on. So he could have been spotted inside of that glide bomb. And the flank comes in. It does grant the boys on YERRRR a few extra seconds, but of course the first set of rotations are through. They're done with, and we're now at Back Restaurant. It's time to pull out your Hunker SMGs. And Remy's doing exactly that, but looks like someone coming on the flank as shots beginning to come in. Derpun back on a streak, now on 3, about to find the 4th one onto Remy as he's earned streaks again. 11 and 9 for this man. And that actually has earned the most kills for his team. It's actually Brack, who's currently sitting at 14 and 7. Speak of the man, that time we hop on board with them. The FG42 master so far in this map number 1, currently double positive, and has got 3 streaks to work with. The Motor Strike, the Glide Bomb, and the Fighter Pilot. nearly doubling the score of YERRRR. And they've got about 4 or 5 streaks that they can use when it comes down to YERRRR. They are set and ready to go. And if you're YERRRR at this point, you have to be positioned near some buildings. And Remy, of course, keeping in mind that, as he'll obviously grab the free 100. And obviously hop out. Here comes the early fighter pilot. And that's just a great challenge coming in from Shane there. As he obviously realizes that his teammate calls in. Perfect time to try and go for the engagement. Most likely the players are inside. Maybe even gains the call up from his teammate, who obviously is flying through the sky. And they're able to make it work. But here comes some more streaks. The glide bomb now coming in from Derpun as Brack does the damage on one. And Derpun finds the last 3 down. And streaks are being used, I don't want to say too rapidly. But they're kind of investing a lot inside of YERRRR. And here comes the full 4-man push. This is when YERRRR can start to turn things around. 2 fall, make it 3 fall. And just like that, it's going to be the rotation that's going to be needed here from the boys on YERRRR. They have to make that one over toward parking lot, and it looks like it will be happy. It's going to be there early on. A big one found there from Sender. Happens to spot that player before he enters in toward that side street. And here come the streaks yet again. As Carson will grab the scrap points. Parking lot rotation is now being made. And look at this player just toward the side. Player number 1 is Derpun. I was going to say, he was holding a very dangerous angle there. And he easily could have broke a setup from the boys on YERRRR. But Carson on one side, his 3 teammates on the other. We'll see how they try to engage this. As the streaks will come from above. Finding one. Diabolic trying to weather the storm as we wave goodbye to the fighter pilot. And honestly, if you're in this point, you're basically just hoping that there's no more streaks left for them to call in. But that's not the case whatsoever. It just happens to be that Carson is on an 8 streak. And just watch Remy spawn in front of him. Interesting stuff. But he's got the mortar strike as well. This guy's just dominating. I think it's only fair that we do stay on board with him. I mean, for God's sake, he's literally got 9 kills in a row. About to be 10. Spot's happy from the side. It makes him pay. Rotation getting ready to come in, and he's set up. He's got his teammate support. And they're making this one look easy, are the boys on Defy Rebellion. And he could actually have a few more. They haven't made this call out. They don't know that he's here. The miscommunication is definitely underway right now for the side of YERRRR, because they just have no idea this guy is still back here. Finds 1, finds 2, the 12 streak right now for Brack, and they still don't know where he is. They're not turning around. And he's getting ready to call in the streaks just so he can double up on them again. Player just toward his left, and thankfully he finally dies, but 3 kills, one of them being his teammate. Brack right now is 28-8. An unbelievable performance, as he's definitely the reason why his teammates are having a lot of success. The reason why Defy Rebellion is up by this margin. 231 to just 101. Thankfully, they've got over 100 seconds, but to no avail. This one should be done pretty quick, as they're not going to win this one off this particular hard point. But in due time at that, as they're going to try to engage here toward bottom red. And honestly, just a smart play from Derpun. Tries to hop through the window. Tries to go on the flank, but isn't able to make much more of it happen. As Diabolic, big 1v1, needs to win it and is able to do so just to try to progress this game for a little bit longer. Finds 3, nearly finds the 4th. And Cinder's locking down some hardpoint time, but like I said, is it just consolation kills? I mean, they literally only need to make 2 more seconds happen. You could easily go on a rotation and win the fight, or maybe try to sneak and get some extra seconds at the end where the scrap points could be decided. Just 2 major enemies right now for the boys on YERRRR, the time as well as their opposition. And as Derpun finds 3 with the nade, that's going to seal the deal. As they're going to win this one in dominant fashion, do the boys on Defy Rebellion. They win this one 250 to 128. Look at this one for Brack. Finds 2, finds 3, and Cinder doesn't even turn around. I mean, why does he try to go for the engagement there onto Derpun? Just very sloppy play, and honestly, just maybe not even communication coming out of the boys on YERRRR. I mean, it was just kind of like constant times. I mean, there was a moment where Brack, on lookout post hardpoint, was literally behind them the entire time, and you could just see that the communication wasn't there because no one was turning around. No one was kind of calling out and kind of getting their picks and obviously trying to limit the numbers. He just had a heyday. Brack finishes off 32-11, 24-21 for Derpun. He had 1 minute and 26 seconds inside of the hill. And we have Rain, of course, finishing off 24-16. And you also see there as well the defense, the lack of defense from the side of YERRRR. You see 3, 1, and 3. I mean, overall, 7 defends. I mean, there just wasn't a whole lot of contestation going on. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for potentially The final time, yes, wrapping in here toward map number 2 of our current final matchup taking place between the guys on YERRRR and Defy Rebellion. Of course, loading in here toward round number 1, S&D on London Docks, as it was the boys on Defy Rebellion who were able to take game number 1 on St. Marie du Mont, 250 to 128. And now focusing ourselves now to some search and destroy. Curious to see how the veterans, essentially on YERRRR, can start to bring this one back. Because little by little, they're definitely going to need some momentum moving forward, as it is currently a 2 versus 3. However, bomb has been planted, and now Derpun, last up, his position is known. He's in barrel building. With the bomb being planted, he's going to have to find all these kills in quick succession. Finds one and got some hit markers there onto Remy, but overall, just a solid round coming in from the guys on YERRRR. Of course, they obviously realize the position in hand. They go for the immediate rush inside of docks. Go for the plants, and I'm not sure if, I can't remember who exactly planted the bomb, but I believe the bomb planter might have stayed alive there. So keeping in mind streaks, of course, for future rounds. Yes, I believe, yeah, Diabolic ended up finding a hat trick in the round, along with the fact that he gets the plant. And Diabolic, honestly, I would be very wary of kind of staying alive in the situation, but he's going to go for the all-out rush. Personally, not the biggest fan of this play, but isn't obviously fully aware that there's going to be players making this aggressive of a push onto B, but 3 players entering the line sights of Cinder. He's being gritzed with nades left, right, and center. And Rain, who's currently got the bomb in his hands, making the march forward, realizing that he's got the man advantage. And however, though, Remy is back here. He's got the card 98K in hand and shuts down Novocaine. Player just toward his left, getting rushed from either angle. Plus, he has to go for at least one and is able to stay alive because his teammate is there for the pickup. Rain's last alive now. 1 versus 2. 1-on-1. Shane Rain versus Cinder. And Cinder will win it. It's back-to-back rounds now for the boys on YERRRR, and just overall, very smartly played from Cinder. Obviously realized that he has to come from either position, but Rain gets some hit markers, man. That was probably a bullet difference. Kind of a scary scenario if you are in Troy, a.k.a. Cinder's point of view. I love just knowing the players' names just because from Twitter and stuff like that. It's obviously great. Obviously, Steven Diabolic kind of helps me out, but what's Happy's name? Nick, I think? Remy. Oh, what's Remy's name? I don't actually remember Remy's first name. Is it actually? Oh, it's Remington, right? Yeah, Remington. Huh. Great stuff. Production saying they're going to check. I'm pretty sure his name is Remington, which is honestly a fantastic name. Fantastic name at that. But still, looking on here, currently it is a 2-on-2. And bomb is down just outside of warehouse. Oh, not warehouse, excuse me, but outside of 10. And Remy could be on Remington, actually, could be on the flank here. Trying to pick off one, but only hit markers into the side of Rain. Having to advance, and is going to get some good information. Is going to maybe be joined alongside by Brack. And yes, they're actually going to work out to find the overall kill. And now Happy getting hit markers on both players, but isn't able to successfully close that one out as a big round. A much-needed round, as far as momentum is considered there for Defy Rebellion. And obviously, we can kind of keep in mind things heading in toward map number 2. Hardpoint, obviously, was a dominant victory, like we said, from Brack and Co. and Defy. Brack, I believe, ended up finishing, like, what, 32-11, something like that? Definitely someone to be looking forward to when it comes into respawns. Of course, Search and Destroy, at least after the first few rounds, seems to be playing in favor of Rain and Derpun. But looking on, early rush being made from Happy, and that's why Airborne Energetic is a thing. Early rush being made, and this is where we see a lot of the sub-battles obviously happen. For different teams, it obviously works different ways, as Diabolic's left in a 1 versus 3 now. But different teams like different strategy. I know Next Threat is a squad who doesn't like to kind of contest this one early with subs. Has good discipline being used there from Diabolic because he finds 2. Was looking scary for the moment, but there will be 2 rounds responded there from Defy Rebellion. But when it comes down to this early sub-battle here in 10, it's just really kind of a matter of what team's going to feel comfortable sending an SMG in there. Can he stay alive? Can he at least trade a kill? And obviously, if you are on the side of YERRRR, you definitely feel confident in that. You got 2 guys who can obviously run it at different times, both Diabolic and Happy. As it looks like smoke being tossed out, and based on where the smoke was thrown, was going to say, it's not the best smoke possible because the sniper can still get a little bit of a line sight there just toward the side boxes. So, regardless, I do have them currently duped as the push secretly being made toward B. And honestly, keeping your position alive here toward cut is going to kind of solidify that. But it looks like they do reveal their position. Someone is able to shoot, and they could be baiting out Diabolic. But Derpun ends up finding Happy, and now it's a 3 versus 4 in favor of the defense. And now a retake is needed. Player number 3, Cinder, picking off Brack. Sitting up top on cut as both are, really all 3 players are making their way forward. Up first, it's Rain. Up second, it's Nova. He drops as well, and Derpun last alive. 1 versus 2, going for the pre-fire. And Diabolic obviously using the bomb well, as he obviously uses it for that chest-high cover and is able to finish off Derpun here in the end. But overall, a very solid round yet again coming in on offense from the guys on YERRRR. Of course, they do toss out that smoke to try to make the players think that they're going toward 10. And whenever, I believe it was Derpun who made that early rush. And honestly, if you're in Derpun's position, maybe play a little bit too passively when it came down to that last round, because he's the guy who's able to get that information whenever they're either making that hit over toward B and when they're not, or making that way their way toward A or not. And obviously doesn't give the call out. And they were just kind of waiting, kind of staying in a pause position for the longest time. And it was really YERRRR who was able to hop at the bomb site, kind of take full control. They get the bomb down with no problems whatsoever. So kind of a lot invested, and honestly kind of I don't want to say a misplay from Derpun, but maybe just a passive play that obviously led to a bomb going down freely. And back-to-back rounds, though, we're seeing similar things for both teams in offense. Nice play. They're coming from Derpun as he just makes Happy look like he has the shortest reaction time possible. But he will get cleaned up as 3 players will stay alive, as well as we're going to take a look at the streak earn rates for all players. And it looks like it will be very close here for Diabolic, as he's got all 3 streaks to work with. And was that third one a flamethrower? I saw fire. Does he actually have a flamethrower on this class? I believe that's the flame. Yeah, that's the flamethrower logo. So, or wait, is that Molotov? That's not Molotov. I'm dumb. That is the flamethrower. So, interesting strat for Diabolic. Of course, they're going to go and play for streaks. The reason why he's most likely going to linger here in the back. And honestly, let's see where the positions are right now for Defy Rebellion. As 1 player's inside, 2 players currently kind of out. And they're honestly not in the best positions here for these streaks. And maybe, let's say, here comes the fighter pilot, as it will be 2 who get dropped early. Remy finding the other. And it looks like Derpun's trying to respond, trying to keep this round alive, because if he drops, it's a 1 versus 3. However, Derpun does, and Rain is last alive and just gets melted here at the end. We'll be able to take a look at this one. A Cinder drops one at Derpun, goes for the pre-fire. It just happens to know where Rain is, as there's only 1 bullet that does the job. As now it's 5 rounds to just 2. As honestly similar scorelines from the hard point, now converted to search and destroy. And Derpun and the kill have got to kind of get things ironed out when it comes down to what most likely will be a map 3 CTF. The sun comes in, and Derpun is getting ready to get met with the shots from Diabolic. Of course, plays the side peek pretty well, but Diabolic stays alive. That's huge that Diabolic stays alive in that situation. By the way, Diabolic is 11-3. Also on a 6th streak, not to be 7. Gets the assist. And there's the 7th. That will do it. 12-3. Quadruple positive for Steven, as he will give the business to Defy Rebellion when it comes into search and destroy, as they win this one in just 8 rounds of play. And just like that, we're heading towards CTF on Flag Tower for map 3. This series is not done yet. And I'm very curious to see how, obviously, CTF on Flag Tower will work out. I'm actually looking back at my notes really quick on the YERRRR side. I'm curious, did we watch them play Flag Tower CTF? I believe, no, that was on London Docks CTF. I apologize. So I was curious to see if we maybe watched that earlier, but have not seen them play on that particular map as of yet. Very curious to see how, especially the guys on your do perform when it comes down to that game mode. But I'm also curious. I know I was kind of saying I'm obviously curious to see how both teams play. But I'm interested to see how Defy Rebellion obviously plays, because I think we can expect a solid performance out of Derpun. He's obviously had a great series, played very well even despite only 2-round victories in that last game on London Docks. But now looking on here toward Flat Tower, this one really relies a lot on communication. I mean, London Docks obviously is very fast when it comes into CTF, and this map is maybe just as quick or maybe just a little bit slower than London Docks, because literally it revolves so much on communication. I mean, if you get 3 down, you're obviously going to kind of count the players. Player counting in CTF is huge, and in that first hard point, in that first respawn, player counting was definitely not happening for the guys on YERRRR. I mean, we were literally watching Brack just destroy. I think he went on, what, like a 12-13 kill streak? That alone is impressive, but maybe not as impressive as it should have been, or maybe as it should qualify to be, just because he was constantly on the flank, and it was never YERRRR who was calling out. So very curious to see how Flat Tower plays out, and very interested to see especially how YERRRR plays, because, of course, they've done well when it came down to an earlier CTF, but as far as player counting, as far as the regular strategies, you should think that this entire team should have this ironed out. But at least for right now, and then hardpoint, it wasn't the case. But have they improved since then will be the question, as we will be loading in here. No commercial break needed. We're heading right into this one. I want to close this one out with a bang. No commercial breaks whatsoever. But feel free, as this map does load up, feel free to leave your guys' predictions in the chat below. Are you going with Defy Rebellion to win this one, or are you going with the boys on YERRRR? Of course, 3/4 of the Amity squad. I want to know your guys' thoughts, obviously, in the chat below, as we load in here for what is the final map of tonight's tournament. We can officially say that. Winner of this CTF game are the victors. And we'll walk away with that first place prize. And second, we'll walk away with the position as second best, a.k.a. last, as a lot of people would kind of consider it. Second is the first losers, is what they would kind of call it. So a lot of pressure on the line, a lot of pride, and some cash at that. A lot of cash on the line. As we're going to hop on board here with Remy off the break. Actually rocking the FG42, going for those early gun engagements. First picks are really important when it comes down to Flat Tower. As you obviously see, at least on the right side lane, Remy realizes that 2 kills go down, and the one player is most likely playing passively, but doesn't check the right corner. And if Remy finds that kill, that could have been an early rush that we see coming from the boys on YERRRR. However, Defy Rebellion play it well. Novocaine holds the corner and has to play passively because of his teammates. And it does work out. Just around this corner is Diabolic, as at least passive play off the start. And I like this play actually coming in from YERRRR. Not playing too aggressive, and a big win coming in as Diabolic drops. Novocaine wins the fight, but Cinder having to hold the back lines here with the FG42, trying to toss out the stun and happy to toss out the nade. The combination works out as they shut down one on Derpun. However, the flag is grabbed. Rain is able to escape, but only for the time being. And Brack is here. Can he win the fight? No, not able to make it work. Cinder on the opposite end, going to help out his teammate Remy as they've grabbed the flag. And honestly, if Cinder can watch his cut, this is big. Takes out Derpun, and Happy is there for the pickup. And now Remy should be good to go. Only one player to contest this. This is going to be Novocaine. Where are they at? Shuts down one maybe, but no, not able to make it work. And the first flag will go through. The overextension successfully will pay off for the boys on YERRRR as Remy yet to find a kill, but a flag on the board, a worthy transaction, as he'll obviously take the lead rather than the positive KD. Very selfish thing to obviously do. And Remy, of course, a runner-up for those who obviously don't remember, back at AW Champs. Of course, for the team known as Team Revenge with Nagafin, Aqua, and Facento. Kind of compared him at times. Oh my god. Novocaine just totally ripped him apart. That's probably the worst time to talk about him. But I have at times, and during his run in AW, I kind of compared him to like a young Teep. I kind of actually compare Remy along with Proto, who currently player for Lightning Pandas, kind of like to young Teeps, essentially, like young Teepees, because they kind of are very talented when it comes down to slang, but they realize their role as far as the objective and kind of get both done. And you're not really going to see too many players successfully do that. And I know as of recent, of course, we saw Remy on the Legions, and has kind of gone back and forth from different teams. And, you know, very curious to see how he obviously plays for the rest of the World War II season. But I really like this guy a lot. I think Remy really has a point to prove this season. And I think really he does have a lot to offer, I think, when it comes down to his overall role and his overall positioning, just because he is an unselfish player, and at times he can really do a lot when it comes down to the respawns. He has a very good shot on him, and of course this is really his first kind of testament when it comes down to boots on the ground Call of Duty. So a lot of the players who made a name back in AW, back in Black Ops 3, back in Infinite Warfare, they have a lot to prove. And a lot of the guys who obviously placed well throughout those titles have a lot more to prove than the others. So curious to see how this guy obviously performs, and I think he can definitely be a rising star if he obviously works at it and finds a good group to play with. As his team is currently obviously up 1-0. Drop shot there onto Carson Brack. And finds a second one as well. Big kills coming in from Remy. He's on a 4 spree and could find the flag if he can find this kill. And yes, finds that one on Derpun. Remy going off as he's got a 5 kill spree and is also going to be able to secure this flag in a big victory. As he also gets the glide bomb, gets the fighter pilot, and gets the mortar strike. Big moment there from Remy, and he's going to continue on here with the slaying dominance. 6 in a row. His streak finally ends. But one that was definitely felt if you're on the side of Defy Rebellion. And Happy still sitting inside the middle, and I like what they're doing right now. Is that as one player drops, the player obviously coming off of spawn fills in for that position. And the subs are doing some damage right now. Diabolic up close. And now Carson Brack is going to have to hold the Brack. Pun. Sorry about that. He's going to have to hold the back lines right now as his teammates start to spawn up. Diabolic just waiting around the corner, and you can see off the spawn, Remy has made it behind enemy line. Shuts down 1, shuts down 2. Big win there for Carson, but Cinder could be here. He actually makes it behind enemy lines. He doesn't even realize where Carson is. Carson was still alive. Cinder, what are you doing, pal? Not exactly sure that positioning from Cinder. I mean, he didn't even turn around. He didn't even, like, see the guy. That was kind of odd to witness there, but Carson tries to make a last-second push. Novocaine is there as well, but at the half, already a 2-flag advantage toward the boys on YERRRR. As like I said, they played incredibly strong when it came down to that CTF on London Docks. And, of course, that was against SC, and that was against a very talented lineup consisting, of course, of guys like Mochilla, Dashy, Illy. Like I said, a lot of, I know people kind of talk about it and say, well, veteranship's obviously a thing, but just having the experience in CTF games like this and just the overall kind of everyday knowledge, kind of like the expected things. So you've done it before, you can do it again. It's kind of like muscle memory, really, when it comes into CTF once you've played it for so long. And it looks like early on in this round, Diabolic is able to grab the flag, and he has to wait for his teammates. Tries to turn on Rain, but no. Big 2-piece there coming in from Rain is also going to go for the flag grab. So keeping in mind, streaks are going to be a big deal to bring this comeback forward. Granted, they could probably do it with gun skill. They're going to have to get some good timing. But if they can earn some streaks, potentially, that would be big. Diabolic just toward the right side. Rain ends up falling. However, Novocaine does escape with a flag for the time, but they don't check the corner. And it looks like Remy at the same time shuts down the 4th. There was one player who was coming from that right side who could have shut down Diabolic, but the player grabs the flag. And it was just kind of miscommunication coming out in that play because they easily could have shut down Diabolic's position. As soon as they do that, they grab the flag. However, the guy who grabbed the flag just immediately challenges Diabolic. And the player from behind also gets ripped apart as well. It's definitely, like I said, some miscommunication coming out from Defy Rebellion as 3 do go down yet again. As here comes that spawn out just toward the right side. They're going to have those cuts watched through middle. And Carson Brack, I believe, rocking the infantry forward, is going to have Happy in the back lines. Of course, getting very close right now is Diabolic. Spots out Brack, and yes, gets some assistance. And this is going to be a flag yet again captured. As just at the last second possible, Rain does find the kill. However, it's too late. Just too late. There's just a hair under 3 minutes left here in the second round of play. Derpun and the boys have got to get something going, and they've got to do it based off of team pushes. Look at this. Derpun, where's his teammates at? Doesn't have any teammate support in that particular play. He tries to challenge it by himself. And honestly, this is, like I said, when it comes down to, at least for Defy Rebellion, right now what they need to do is essentially have a player advance forward, maybe tries to make a sneak push, wait for his teammates to find the kill in the base, or they just need to kind of wait as a team. You know, granted, if you're making a 4-man push, you've got the numbers in your advantage, it's a grind game. CTF can be a grind, and it's a moment where you have to have a lot of passive play and kind of work things as a team. But it's going to take some time. Definitely is. And maybe time isn't of the essence at the moment. As they said, they are down and happy. As soon as he sees those 3 go down, he immediately goes for the flag grab, and one player just above him is player number 5. It's Novocaine, but he's not there for the challenge. He's not there for the pickup. But Diabolic is able just to escape for the time being. Player number 7, Brack, has to watch him fade away. Has the stun on him, but why is he calling in the fighter pilot? Diabolic, run, Diabolic! Nobody gets met. Derpun tries to go for the challenge. Flag is in Happy's hands. Can he go for the dive? No, not going to be there. Shane grabbing the flag now. Can he go for the return? Yes, they do get the return. And now on the opposite end, making the dash. Can they get there based on the spawns? Yes, they could be good. But here comes the fighter pilot. Diabolic coming from the sky, shuts that one down. Derpun still has the flag in hand. Do they have any more streaks they can call in? Derpun just needs to go for the dive. And yes, it will be captured, but to no avail. One that literally had to go in that particular play. The fighter pilot gets used. And we'll see what streaks they have left. It looks like Diabolic has the flamethrower. Cinder doesn't have anything, and Happy doesn't either. So their last streak was wasted. I don't want to say wasted, but was used in the last play. And Diabolic drops. Right now, if you're Defy Rebellion, you need some calm, cool communication. And it looks like one player behind enemy lines is Remy. Smart play, just kind of play things passively. And every time they drop one player, it is heart-wrenching. It is heartbreaking if you're Defy Rebellion because, of course, you're just trying to make your way forward. You're not trying to deal with any players from opposite angles, from odd places. As Derpun drops, Brack is here. And Diabolic is there for the challenge. And it looks like Rain just clearing out his base, making sure everything is good to go. However, things are not good to go. This one is going to be done, as it will be the side of YERRRR who win this one in map number 3 here on CTF Flag Tower. The veterans will close this one out, with Cinder finishing off 26-14 on a 5 spree, along with Diabolic finishing off 22-18 and 21-15 there for Remy as well. I think major play throughout that match was obviously Remy's 6 streak. He's able to grab the flag, captures it as well. And that was kind of a major kind of tide turner of the game, where I believe they ended up going up 2-0, 3-0 after he ended up capturing that flag, which obviously played dividend for the entire series. But of course, this one does get closed out here in our final map. It was a fantastic series to watch, but regardless, it does go the way of YERRRR, winning back-to-back maps here. So of course, you can see here in our final scoreboard.